So I know it's more about data, but I thought I'll take an opportunity to speak about in the world of data and AI, how Microsoft Copilot can help specifically group of people like a project managers or business analyst or in general who wants to improve their or boost their productivity or enhance their productivity. And that's this session is all about. I'll be more focused on demos rather than theory and talking more about features and stuff. You can explore more, but I'll be trying to cover 3 to 4 demos in next 20-25 minutes. All right. So I hope everyone able to see my screen. Um, so I'm Samir Makwana. I'm from there is a small town called Collingwood, north in Ontario, which is north of Toronto, in Canada. I'm Microsoft certified trainer and a solution architect and a global speaker. I work and speak on many different technologies, which includes in Copilot Studio, uh, Microsoft 365 was my primary, and a Power Platform, of course. And this is my LinkedIn QR code. In case if you want to reach out or having any questions after this session, feel free to do that. And I'll happy to connect with you and answer your questions. Okay. So today's agenda. So we're going to talk about what's eating up your day as a project manager or as an individual who are part of the project. Okay. And what are the top project managers' tasks being asked to a project manager in their day-to-day work or weekly work, where we can do something additional rather than just keep doing the repetitive task, right? Then we're going to talk about how can Microsoft Copilot can help them uh, enhance their productivity. I'm sure they are super productive, but how we can reduce some workload and let them breathe a bit and allow them to, enhance their productivity. And right after that, we'll jump in a demo where we're gonna have a 3 to 4 demo, depends on the time we have today, but that will be a demo fill session, I would say. So stay tuned. So let's start with what is eating up your day. So I've been working with many projects in last 10 years, living in Canada, working with many clients. Uh, I spoke with many project managers I work with and I engage with. And what I noticed most of the time, like 40 to 60% of their weekly time are on administrative and repetitive tasks. And that is something alarming because when you are in Teams meeting, and for example, these are the top project manager tasks I would say. So let's say taking a meeting notes, going back and preparing a summary, like executive summary, and sending back to all the stakeholders or participants in that meeting, right? Another one is, let's say if there is a meeting where you are brainstorming the ideas regarding upcoming projects. And in that scenario, everyone doing whiteboarding and they're putting all your thoughts on a whiteboard and someone need to capture those thoughts and consolidate and categorize that and eventually those thoughts is to be translated into a task where it can be moved as an action item in a project plan. So all those work, right? All those work regarding preparing a project plans and ultimately there is an ask of what is the status, where is the status report, and so on. So all those tasks I see where we can add a co-pilot to help us and enhance our productivity, right? And this is all about these 4 things, and we're gonna see if we can cover all those in our demo today. Okay. Um, so starting with how this all connected and how Microsoft Copilot can help on each of those components. So starting with Teams, Whiteboard, and Planner. That's the main 3 components we're going to talk about today, which I think adds lots of value apart from Copilot in Outlook, which is I'm sure everyone might be using it if they have a license. So I'm not going to cover it in this session, but starting with Teams. So Copilot powered Teams for the Teams meeting and we're going to look into the demo, but it has capacity and capabilities to record the session, provide the use the transcript to generate the meeting notes. Also, it has capabilities or features to uh, tell people what they can do, what they cannot do about it, right? So this consider we are building a project plan today together. We are part of one project, and the project title is rolling out or implementing Microsoft Copilot in an enterprise, right? And today is the kickoff call where we are in a meeting right now, and we are all talking and discussing what to do next, how we're gonna plan the remaining of the project, how we're gonna make it a success, who gonna do what. Let's say Mikey gonna do all the stakeholder identifying thing, preparing um, plan for communications and user training. Let's say I'll be working on how we're going to roll out and technically configure those things in a backend. And I will ask someone else to, or I'll identify someone to help me with the security and security and privacy requirements, right? So all those things we'll be doing in next coming weeks, working together. But this is just a kickoff call, assume. And all whatever I'm talking right now, consider this being recorded at one of the meeting and those notes being taken. And eventually those notes will be used to brainstorm and prepare a plan. So consider now you have a co-pilot in your whiteboard. So after project initiation meeting, you are transitioning to the brainstorming session with more focused on what are the tasks needs to be done. Let's say if you are talking about identifying the stakeholders, what are the scope and terms needs to be defined, how to engage stakeholders on this. Or let's say if you're talking about how we're gonna prepare end user training plan, then what are the components we need to think on brainstorm about uh, the end user training plan and so on. So we're going to put all those things in a whiteboard, and then we're going to use a Copilot to help us capture all those details, put it in a appropriate summary, and how we can transition that into Microsoft Planner to build a plan. And that's where, again, one very powerful tool come in a picture. There is a new agent in a preview right now. It's called Project Manager Agent in a Planner. If you have a specific license and specific components enabled, then you can have that agent available for you to help you out with the building a plan, managing the plan, generating a report. It's really cool. So this is like a high level agenda in terms of what we're gonna do today and throughout the project, right? So let's start with that. So along with Microsoft Copilot, I just wanted to mention it here before I jump in a demo, that there's again an app or a tool or a feature, I would say, available with Microsoft 365 Copilot license itself, but the tool name is Facilitator. And this is completely opposite, or I would say independent of what Microsoft Copilot can do for you. And I'll come back to this if we have a time left, but this is again a very good tool and to use when you are not going to be attending that meeting or facilitating that meeting, and you still want that recording to be done, case notes, like the meeting notes to be captured, and all the participant can review those things, then facilitator is your guy. Okay, but without further ado, let's jump on a demo. I just want to show you something that I have already started one Teams meeting on my browser, as you can see, and this is where my Copilot option is. As soon as I click on that Copilot option in my existing team meeting, let's say there are 10 participants join in this meeting and they're discussing something, but before I kick off the call, I said we're going to start the transcription. This is bare minimum to enable Copilot for Teams meeting. So as it's not a full recording like audio video, it's just transcription we are enabling. And as soon as I say start, it's gonna ask everyone to review and agree on the terms. Uh, and it's going to ask me what language I should be speaking, or majority of people are speaking today. And there are different language options, as you can see, right? Um, and I'm going to choose English today as its default language for now. And we're going to keep it running for 5 minutes. We're going to talk about how we want to brainstorm, how we're going to kick up this call, and how we're going to start working on the project for implementing a Copilot in a larger enterprise. And it it's not going to right away going to start answering all the questions, but that is, as you can see, as we go through the different phase of the project or the demo, um, and once this recording has more content into it, it will allow me to click on different prompts to ask for what has been discussed so far. So for example, if a user or attendee of the meeting joined meeting late, and rather than asking someone, can you fill me with what has been talked about today? I'm 15 minutes late, sorry. But instead of asking someone to help you with that, you can go and ask Copilot by yourself, saying, recap meeting so far for me. But if I do it now, it might not have all the details, right? As you can see, it's a project kickoff, Copilot functionality. That's what it's been talked so far. And I logged in as a user Defend 365. So this is what the name, like it's showing that Defend 365 is discussing or discuss these topics, right? So eventually, as I said, we need someone to identify stakeholders. We need someone to prepare a plan for uh, um, end user training, security check, and everything, right? So I'm just going to stop this recording here so that we can go back and check one of the existing recording I has. So as you said, meeting ended. And that recording gonna show up here soon, but it will look like this. And when you click on a view recap, you can see the notes here. So it's AI generated notes, and your transcript will be all here, whatever has been discussed in that call. And now there's a very good button here that's called Share to Outlook. You just click on it. It's gonna pop up the Outlook on your window, and it will allow you to send an email out promptly. I hope it works out. Okay, it doesn't work good in a browser, but when you launch the same thing from your Teams client on your desktop, it's literally open up a new email and having all this content which you have here. And as you can see, it's more detailed as you expand into those notes. And there are some follow-up tasks here too, right? And this follow-up task and these notes, which we're gonna use into our next demo for Copilot in your whiteboard. So let's jump into that. So I'm just gonna copy all this content in a clipboard. I'm gonna go to whiteboard, gonna open it up. I hope it will open quickly. All right. So this is like a whiteboard. So consider we are in a day 2 or 3 where we are now having a brainstorming session where we are all in the one meeting room, maybe virtually or hybrid. And we have started putting all the ideas, what we started thinking in a kickoff call, we are putting into now whiteboard so we can brainstorm those things and put more details to those tasks and build something out of it. So instead of starting blank, which I can do here by clicking all these sticky notes, putting it here, and then start putting a data and typing it like collaboratively. Instead of doing that, I use a Copilot. I say, okay, suggest idea and content, and whatever I did or captured in the previous meeting, I'm just going to use this as a note here. I'm just going to send to the Copilot, and let's see what Copilot in a whiteboard do for me, right? So it's creating a draft. What it's going to do, it's going to create 6 sticky notes. Oh, that is pretty quick. So as you can see, it has created 6. It's suggesting to create 6 sticky notes. My apology. And it's one of them is define project objectives, scopes, define or identify stakeholders, initial pilot user group, establish project communication strategy, and all those task lists which you can take, and you can provide more details to that. So I can insert 6, or I can ask to generate more. So the fun thing about the Copilot in Whiteboard, it can generate 6 at a time. So if I need more, I need to click on that generate more. Now I have 12. I click on generate more, it's going to add 6 more into it. I'm going to click again, and it's going to 6 more into it. So I'm going to have a 24 sticky notes to go through. So I click on insert, and now we have 24 sticky notes. So assume each of us having different specialty, but we are part of the project team, and we are working on the sticky notes together, and we put all the data we need into the sticky notes. And after, let's say, 90 minutes or 2 hours of brainstorming session, we filled all the data into it. But now we want to categorize the sticky notes in different buckets so that we can visualize different phases of the project. So if I click on categorize now, that's where the Copilot really helpful as well. As you can see, the Copilot has categorized all those sticky notes in different phases like project planning, stakeholder management, communication documentation, licensing, Copilot task, and so on. And it could be many more, right? And it's not a fixed task. You can go and adjust that accordingly. But I'm just going to keep it as is for now. And I'm going to show you one more thing quickly, how it looks like in terms of uh, you know, summarization of all this and how we can use that info as an input in a project planner to build a project plan out of this, right? So let's say we filled all the data. Now we have more details into the sticky notes. And I'm gonna go say select all. So I'm gonna have all the sticky notes together. And there is an option here again that summarize note content. So whatever is on this whiteboard, Copilot gonna review that and help me generate the summary out of it. Okay, and this is not only whiteboard with the Copilot, but whatever the Copilot is creating, it's putting in a loop component. So if you want to share this with the same meeting group which you had in a kickoff call, you can just copy this all, and you can go back to that group. You can go back to that group in a chat. And you can just put it there like this, and those group of people will be able to see what has been discussed in a whiteboarding session, and you can have all those detail captured, right? Now there are 24 ideas generated, but the main theme is this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy only the portion which I need for building my project plan. I'm just going to copy this, and I'm gonna go back to my Teams, and this time I'm gonna go to Teams in my Teams desktop so that we can do some good thing there. So I'm going to the planner now. Now I'm the phase where I need to work alone, or maybe with the BA or some of the folks from the architecture team, so that I can draft a plan to roll out, you know, or build the project plan, and eventually I have the task assigned to everybody. So now I have a specific license, Project Planner 3 and 5, which provides me a premium license. You don't have to be premium, because if you have Microsoft 365 Copilot license, then you can also get a project manager. It's an agent, and you can use it to plan or build your project plan and manage it accordingly as well. But premium feature having premium templates, which can really help you to start building something quickly there too as a template. But today in this demo, I'm going to talk about plan with the plan manager. I know we have only 5 minutes left, but let me see what we can do in 5 minutes. So project plan for data popcorn. I'm just going to use a pin. I'm just going to use my personal or Cloudtrify. Let me use Cloudtrify. I'm just going to say create. And this is where exactly it's going to create a blank template. But that's where I want to show you there was nothing into it. And there are different tabs to this, like as you can see. And there is a section for reporting as well, right? But we don't have any task yet, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the AI project manager agent, right? And I'm going to ask create plan for implementing Copilot in an enterprise with details below. So I pasted that content from the whiteboard here. I'm just going to click on run. And this is where sometime it as well, because the prompt, the more accurate the prompt will be, it will be more precise in building it. Go to the board. I don't know how. Okay, it's having only one bucket, which is weird. Create more task list in different buckets for implementing Copilot in an enterprise, right? Let's see what it's do. And this, okay, it's weird. But let me show you one of my existing demo rather than waiting for that to happen. So eventually, once you have a right prompt, you might need to tweak a bit, but once you have right prompt, it will literally fill all this task for you based on your strategy or the things you have. And the beauty of the project manager agent is it's literally your one of the assistant for the project manager. And you can literally ask, what are the adoption rates are in your thing, or gather a feedback post rollout, or define a success matrix. What thing I can do for defining a success matrix? So rather than I, as a project manager, preparing and working on it, I just simply drag and drop that task to assign it to project manager. Now, what that agent gonna do? Agent gonna work on that specific task in the boundary of this project plan. And as you can see, it's working on it right now and updating the details. But eventually, we will see there are a bunch of details popped up here, the content, which you can leverage to define the success metrics for this project plan or this project. And I hope it will show up soon. I'm just going to close this up, and I'm going to show you how it will look like after it's done. So once it is done, it will move to the ready to review bucket, because there's always human in the loop, right? And if I click on that, let's say define the scope and objectives of this task, then you can see there's a loop component has been added previously when I ran this demo for the testing, and everything, this is all has been created by that agent, which is again powered by Copilot, and it has scope, inclusion, exclusion, constraint, primary objective, success criteria, all of that, right? And before we wrap up this session, I know we have not only 1 minute left, but before we wrap up this session, I just want to show you something. In the report, there's a section called report here, and you can say, get me a report. I would say start. Get me the report of last 2 weeks, right? And you can put more detail what you want to cover in the report. I would say executive summary, and I click on generate. Now what's it's going to do, this agent going to go back into all the tasks which are completed, not completed, pull out the status, and going to create a report out of it in a minute or two. It might take a minute, but while it's there, I just want to show you the one which I have already. So it's really cool. It's not the best, but it's a good start for anyone who really want to leverage the Copilot in the planner as well. So it says task completion chart about the project. It has that timeline or Gantt chart, the highlight and achievements, and all of the stuff. Also the things in work in progress, upcoming items, who all are assigned to each of those items, and the timeline. Yep. And it's of course it says generated by project manager agent. So be careful with the content, right? So now going back to our slides, which I'm not gonna go through each of every of them because we need to wrap up the session. But two things I would like to do before we wrap up. One, catch me if you can. I speak at many events next week and so on. I have some of the very good events and speaking engagement schedule. If you are around in any of these places, say hi and happy to see you for a coffee or lunch. And thank you so much. And this is again my LinkedIn QR code. If you want to know more about the demo I showed you or have any questions, or just want to talk about the Copilot and AI stuff in Microsoft era, then feel free to reach out and I'll happy to help you on that.